Hello, fellow Trigun fans. Welcome back to another review of Trigun Stampede Season 1, Episode 7. So this episode, it takes off or picks up right after the last episode because there's obviously a cliffhanger of the ship making its way towards the village. And of course, it's the same village where Nick Wolfwood grew up. And so obviously they want to save it because otherwise that orphanage is toast, including the rest of the village because it's a big ass ship. So that's pretty much where we left off. In this episode, there's not as much like character backstory like the way the last episode was, where they showed a little bit more backstory in Nick and Livio and like kind of how their relationship works, and also just like where kind of how Wolfwood was like, was trained to be an assassin by that Eye of Michael or whatever the heck that organization is, the Church of Michael or whatever it is. But then Livio also gets thrown into it too, but except that he is fully brainwashed, like maybe it's the whole like mechanical eye thing that's on him, but he is made in a way where he can only do one objective and that's it. And he is relentless at it. Versus it seems like Nick, he had to be kind of coerced to do a lot of stuff. He still had full kind of cognitive ability of his like full awareness of what he was doing. And he refused to do a lot of it. It seems like unless they threatened him to kill his friend or something like that. But it looks like, obviously he escaped or whatever. And now he's doing whatever he's doing with Vash. So these last two episodes have been mainly focused on him, less on Vash in general. There's a lot more action in this episode. It's a lot more fun, but it's kind of funny. Like this show, there's a lot of blood and some gore, but it's not like super explicit, right? Like, you'll see Nick shoot his giant cross machine gun into a crowd of like those pirates and none of them get hit. And I'm not sure if he's like trying to do that, but he doesn't seem the type. He's not like Vash where he'll try to use bullets to scare people to run away because he doesn't want to kill anybody. But then Nick doesn't hit anything. And I'm like, you don't seem like the type to miss, right? So not really sure what's happening or going on with that stuff. Sometimes like, these animes and stuff are or even just TV shows in general are so like inconsistent. It's like, oh, these like big time assassins. Oh, they're missing all the time. Like, oh, okay. Like seems like assassins wouldn't miss actually. Anyways, we do get a lot more action, and then in this one it's even crazier because so between Vash and Nick, they need to find a way to stop, this ship, right? So first Vash throws out these like crazy giant anchor things to wrap around the ship, but doesn't really do anything because they're on sand. So there's nothing to like kind of anchor onto. All it can really do is slow it down. And then somehow, somewhere, they both get superhuman strength because like towards the end of the episode, they're both like underneath this cannon thing that's like on the ship. I don't even know where that cannon came from. Maybe I missed it or something like that, which is very possible. And they're like trying to lift the sucker up over so that it can be like, just to give it some leverage so that the ropes or chains do eventually kind of fling it back because it's getting ready to fire, right? Or, well, it's charging up and then Meryl's going to fire it. And I guess that will disable the ship in some shape or form. And I'm like, this cannon is not like small, it's ginormous. It's like the size of like a football field in terms of length, and it's probably a couple tons. I don't know where Nick. I think he was enhanced in some shape or form, and obviously Vash has that bionic arm. But when did they get the strength of like 1,000 men? Between the two of them, like what in the like it. From what I can remember from the first 6 episodes, neither of them have displayed superhuman strength, but now they're suddenly pushing up this giant thing, like as if they will actually do something. I mean, it was just it was like, what? Like this doesn't even like at this point it doesn't even make sense, you know? And the only highlights I feel like from this episode are that, you know, it was fun action. There was like a funny scene between Meryl and the pirates who were, you know, storming the ship where they're like, hey, take pictures of us as we like go rob, like we want to be on top of a magazine, and they're like, yay, and posing for it. And then even one of the guys is like super nice to her. It's like, hey, smile more, like, all you can, like, you need to smile more in life and be happy. And it's like, these are the most wholesome pirates on the planet. Like, what is going on here? Like, this is the weirdest like episode ever. And we also get a little more insight into like the two cronies that Knives sent out after. We have the telekinetic guy and then the creepy kid who can take out moths out of his mouth and then release it as a surveillance drone thing going on. That was just disgusting. But like, I don't know, like this episode, I guess like since it was more focused on Nick and Livio, we don't really get to see much of Vash. Right, he's still kind of the same guy. There wasn't that much character development, and yeah, the episode is what it is. So maybe we'll get more in the next coming weeks. But to be honest, guys, like I think at this point, I'm like not crazy about this series. Like it's been 7 episodes in, and we haven't really gotten a whole lot of character development, except for Nick Wolfwood. Like, Meryl is like the young, like ambitious reporter now, not insurance agent like she was in the original. Roberto is just like some grizzled old reporter who just seen too much of life and just doesn't give a crap. Vash is the semi happy-go-lucky, super optimistic, loves life type of character, but there hasn't been too much of like, I feel like this series is like kind of expects you to know the old one, but also doesn't give you enough information to build this new universe or build this new story that they're clearly going for. I feel like they needed to treat this like as if it's completely brand new, like there was no Trigun 1, and they just need to go and explain everything. And they haven't so far, really, or at least like there's a lot of mystery. I think I need more character development from Vash. There was a lot more of that in the first one where he was just like super silly, but kind of also, but he was like a silly person and a fool, but also you can tell like there was like an X factor to him where he knew exactly what he was doing, right? Like he would roll down a hill like as if he just tripped, but halfway rolling down the hill, he'll fire off a bullet that somehow hits a lever. Then that lever will somehow trigger this other mechanism. And it's because he planned this all out in the beginning. He just makes himself look like an idiot. So I feel like there needs to be a lot more of that. And less of whatever we're getting here. So that's just me. I'm going to give this series to like episode 10 to see if it's any good. But so far, I'm not super optimistic, to be honest. 7 episodes in, like, I want to know more about what Knives is doing, like, what is going on there. I don't care about his cronies at this point. Like, there's not a real, like, mission that's going on around here. So they really need to start gearing up for this show. Like, it needs to start picking up because right now it's like a slow burn. But other shows that have had a slow burn but then really picked up would be like Bleach, the original, like the first I think 20-30 episodes of that anime was like super kind of bleh, like it was not the best start. But then the second they started introducing more Shinigami with Renji and Byakuya, like that went off on super high rails. So I don't know if this is gonna be like this, but I'm hoping it's gonna do better. Anyways, that's my take on the last episode, or episode 7 of Trigun Stampede. Let me know what you guys think of it. Do you liking it? Are you hating it? What are your thoughts for the future of this show? Because so far I'm not crazy about it, but let me know what you guys think. Take it easy.